Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuyo, regular contributor for Buddhistdoor Global, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of The Ordinary Buddhist. The title of today's talk is Waving the Flag of the Mind. But before we get into that, I'll remind you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. Also, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. Two students were looking at the flag and having a discussion. And as the flag was waving in the breeze on a flagpole, one student said, "It's the flag that moves." And then the second student responded, "No, it's the wind that moves." And they went back and forth for a while like this, arguing over whether they were watching a flag moving or watching the wind moving, until finally their teacher came up and said, "It's not the flag that moves. It's not the wind that moves. It's the mind that moves." And then all three bowed to each other. Now, in Buddhism, we are taught that this world exists in two phases, if you will. We have the physical world as it exists, and then we have the mental or the conceptual world, which is the ideas and the thoughts that we place on our physical reality in order to understand it. And both of these truths, the absolute and the conceptual realities, are real, equally so, and equally important, but they are different. And we need to understand this difference in order to understand the Dharma. For example, my mind says that this robe is blue. Chances are your mind says the same thing. And the robe is blue. That is a concept. It's a thought that our minds together have agreed upon. And we use that truth to interact with each other and interact with the world. And it's important that we have that understanding. To put it a different way, if I was driving in a car and the traffic light turned from yellow to red, and my mind said that I should hit the gas, and your mind said I should hit the brake, that would be disastrous. So a coming together of the minds is very important in order for a society to exist. This is where laws and traditions and rules and regulations come from. But that's not the whole story. Yes, this robe is blue, but it's also simply, that is to say, it's something that can't be put into words, something that's pure existence. When a flag is moving in the breeze, yes, the flag is moving and the wind is moving, but in the end, it's the mind that's moving, because it's the mind that's putting conceptual thought on the movement and deciding flag or wind. In reality, the flag is simply, and again, both of these truths, the absolute and the conceptual, are equally real and equally important. But it's also important that we understand the absolute reality of things so that we don't get too attached to our conceptual understanding. This is important when we're talking about flags. It's important when we're talking about religion, when we're talking about politics. If we're too attached to our conceptual understanding, the understanding of our mind, then it becomes difficult to work with people and live with people who have different understandings. Now, sometimes it's important we all think the same thing, like in my example with the traffic light. Other times it's simply very helpful that we think the same things, as like my example of the robe being blue. If you say it's red, well, I disagree, but not something to fight about. And then there are other things coming from the mind, conceptual thoughts, that really don't matter all that much, that just really aren't worth our time or our energy. If I say vanilla is the best ice cream and you say it's strawberry, I'm just going to eat my vanilla ice cream and leave you to your own devices. So when we understand the teaching of the mind and the waving flag, we understand that there are different understandings of reality, different understandings of conceptual thought, and we can better understand what concepts are worth fighting for and which ones are worth letting go. Is it the flag that moves? Is it the wind that moves? Is it the mind that moves? Who cares? Amitabha.